Welcome to another episode of the Apex Perspective podcast. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing Ranjith Ravula, who is the current founder of Socia M8 and also Raks Group. Ranjit, you have such an interesting backstory in which I've seen you switch mid-career from India all the way to the United States, and that personally made me quite interested in your backstory. So, can we begin with this podcast off with your backstory and how it led to the current companies you're running today?
Uh, I've started back in India. I was just non-English medium environment, which is honestly made everything, feel like 10 times, harder later in our life. So, but, that also taught me to figure out things out the hard way. So my dad had a major, health struggle when I was a kid. So doctor actually told us he wouldn't live long. So the only thing I kept, the things kept him going. He was, surviving on cow milk. So those tough years, I moved in with my uncle from seventh grade to 10th grade. 3 years three full years away from home. So my mom could take care of my dad because I was uh, almost, I don't know, 11, 12 years. So every morning and evening, after my 10th grade, I moved back my home again. But every morning and evening, I was like delivering milk to our neighbors. It wasn't, really to show anybody it's a glamorous or something, but it taught me a discipline and the values of the hard work, the early days in my childhood. So those years really something uh, got into me, and it's not only like what other people will get up opinion on you, but I realized talent is not only enough. It's about showing up and doing the work and refusing to let the situations define you. But yeah, so now fast forward, so I spent 8 years without a job in the US. So I
Mm-hmm.
was on dependent visa and my wife visa.
Mm-hmm.
So no legal right to work until I got the employment authorization. But after that, I drove a limo for some time, and but it didn't go well because the Uber showed up and completely wiped the whole business overnight. So I had to pivot fast. Then I landed because my background was in accounting. I did my MBA and commerce back in India. So I thought I will do again accounting job. So I landed in accounting job, but it was like very rough. So there were like cultural differences and language barriers. So it was not my comfort zone. But then again, I got a break. It's a staffing company, so I started as a staffing accountant. That's where
Mm-hmm.
everything actually started to click because I got a front row and see how the complete business works in the back end, accounting and all the behind the scenes. So I learned everything. Then I got little hands on it. So from there, that's where again, I got laid off within 1 year. The business that they sold it out. So I know
Ranjit, I hate to interrupt. My apologies for this. While you were working at the staffing agency, did you identify, because now you run your own, by the way.
yeah.
So, do you identify any gap when you're operating this, when you were within the operations of the staffing agency you worked at? Do you identify there was an opportunity for you to start your own?
Yeah, that's where I'm coming.
Okay.
So like after 1 year of laying off, then I decided to again go back to accounting. But again the same problem, the cultural and other same issues. Then I decided, I first the gap what I seen is me being in the other different backgrounds, and again coming back to on track again, right? So all those 8 years, then I wanted to get in back and to start my own, but it was very tough. No guidance. I don't have any experience, and I have a friends, but they are all in IT. So I didn't know what to do. Then I realized, after laying out this one, then I decided, okay, what if somebody like me wants, need a help to get on track? Because I've seen many people getting these gaps and going through a lot of other problems. So that's where I realized, let me start the same way, because I worked in accounting, then I saw the back end, I got little knowledge. Then all I need to learn how to fill those gaps, and how to guide them and get them back on track on their careers. It can be IT or it can be anything. So that's where I realized that the staffing is the one. Maybe I could help somebody, and also I can make a business out of it. And that's what I started. Yeah.
And how are you operating this differently from the one you worked at previously?
See, previously I was worked in only the staffing accountant, right? So I was
Hmm.
just only doing the back end payrolls, AR, AP, and balance sheets, all the bookkeeping.
Hmm.
But when I started Raks Group, this, because I completely, recruiting is new to me,
Hmm.
so I had to learn from the scratch. My friends' help, they said they would help with the candidates, they would help with other clients, so that I can just run the back s- business, and make business out of it. But it
Hmm.
didn't go that way, so I have to learn everything step by step and to start it.
So how did the beginning stages of the company start, and how are you operating the company differently today compared to when you started?
Oh man, yeah. So of course I was doing everything, because I was good at accounting, bookkeeping, and I learned recruiting. Of course, I heard people, but it didn't go well, because I was not aware of how the system works, how really the business works. So I burned my hands initially, but later I learned step by step. So hiring the right people, and giving them a full freedom of working on their own. So initially what I used to do is, like, I used to do more micromanaging, and everywhere I used to interfere, and put my hand there. So I lately realized, hiring somebody who is better than me, and can lead this business to next level. So then I found people who are very accountable, and they can guide other people, and take the company next level. But initially is everything me I was doing all wrong. So that
Hmm.
changed. Now it's completely, I don't really take care of the business.
Hmm.
I build the team and systems, so they take care of it now.
What are your guiding principles to identifying the right person to hire?
Of course. Yeah. So back in like 2017, what I was using is, like, I was, of course, just going through the resumes and seeing their experience, and I was believing them, just hiring. So now, not only recruiters, even including if I'm helping some job seeker or something, I am going through a different process. I have a different strategy. Before I used to get references, like, from friends and families and some other candidates. I used to say yes without even going back and looking at their resume, what are their background, whether they have a right to start the job experience. So those things, it took my time, took my money, and wasted my even employees' time too. So now what I do is, we have a proper system. They fill up the form, our team member will reach out, they'll first find out what they really looking at, and then there will be a two times of this technical screening. So if they don't get through it, we will advise them to what the next steps they can do it, and get back to us again to screen it. Then again they'll go to the different one. So that way we are only concentrating on the right people. So then we are really seeing the quick results. We are not wasting basically a time. The same way when I'm hiring a people, even internally, I'm doing the same thing. So that's where the you're kind of building the pillars to your business. So that's how we changed it. We are doing the new strategies.
What's the biggest mistake that business owners make when they try to hire certain people?
Of course, just in a one call, people, they look at the resumes and ignore it. I've seen that. But the real people, or what you need is not as somebody on the resume. I would say if you are hiring the leaders or something, I would not look at only resumes. I would first connect them, talk to them first, then I will decide whether that person is a fit for my requirement or not. Because the problem is you can't have everything in your resume, and the leaders, they have a plenty of talent. So there is opportunity. Even when I'm hiring a new employees, even they are starting their career with me, that's what we do. So you have to have the personal you have to have that interest to grow personally. Okay, it's not about they are giving to your company. It's also about they going to the next level. If somebody thinking that way is the right fit for you to hire it. So that's what I would suggest to anybody is looking for it.
Absolutely. And hiring a leader, that's one of the more difficult objectives to do, especially because they need to be capable of leading in very difficult situations. So, how do you gauge that component in someone when you're interviewing them or talking to them for the first time?
um, See, I hired one leader right now in the United States.
Mhm.
So it was through reference. So I already know about the back end, how he worked with other companies, how he developed the previous companies, the revenues he generated. So with that, meeting him personally a couple of times and going through all his challenges and what he made, how did he build, those made me to consider him to hire it. But in if somebody is like directly connecting with you, hiring a leader kind of thing. But yeah, I would maybe take a different approach, because if you are completely new to the person, so you have to do some background verification. So it could be talking to the team members, I could talking to the previous boss or managers. That could help you to decide, because this leadership is not like the quick results, because they come and implement the new strategies. The strategies is going to take some time, so you need to have a patience and do it. So hiring a leader is not easy, but you have to do a lot of background work too.
Absolutely. So, 10 years from now, Ranjit, what impact do you hope to leave with Raks Group?
See, we are in staffing. Okay, the only thing why I'm being on social media and build a social mate, another thing, only one thing is, I want everybody to tell that we are building smart tools, and we work with a we want to build a trust, basically relationship. So there are hundreds of staffing companies, there are hundreds of branding companies. So why they need to work with us is, we are transparent, and we build real relationships, and we keep integrity, and we work together. So we it's a win-win for everybody. But that's what I would say. The people come to us even now with the relationships. We work honestly and help them to grow our clients.
Love it. So, tell me more about your most recent venture, Socia 8. Tell me more about that, why you started the company, and how it operates today.
So it was started almost 6 months back. The social mate is something like your social mate, your social friend. So 3 years back, I realized the personal branding is important for my business, because I was not a social guy. During the COVID, I connected LinkedIn, through LinkedIn, many people in the same industry. So I learned a lot of things from them. But me going, reaching and introducing myself is something every time is a new, but it's all because you don't know me, so you would take it right or wrong. It could even go wrong also. So every time when I go to somebody, and the trust is not, I'm not establishing that's the first call. So I cannot even keep everything, tell my story and who I am, and know what I do, my values. So what I realized is, if you are just calling somebody, you are only reaching the very less people. But what if you go and put yourself out, be a face of your business, and talk about your values and your business, your case studies, and how you treat your employees, how you treat other businesses. It can be good or bad, everything. So people see you as a leader when you talk about your client challenges, client case studies and everything. People get connected, the companies get connected with the industry what you're working on it. So either it could be a business or it could be a reference, it will come from there. Then I thought LinkedIn branding is the best one. I did it 3 years. Now I have a plenty of followers there. I really get inbound leads every day. So even with the AI help, little bit automation, now I'm making it double and triple. So why can't this one, is not everybody a cup of tea? So especially in the recruiting world, if you don't know the company whom you are going to work with it, they are not going to trust and start working. So being you going, introducing, and go and first introduce yourself and get connected with the clients or candidates, and they come to you with a trust, and they know you well, they know you can help them. So that's why I realized this social media is for not only for me, it can be help for others. So I
Mhm.
started as a business to help other founders and entrepreneurs to grow their personal branding.
So this is a platform strictly for founders and business owners. Is that correct?
It can be anybody. You see, nowadays, uh, even for the job example, if you say the job seeker is, now if you go and apply a job, there will be hundreds of position. How can you make you know be unique than other 100 peoples, right? So with the help of AI or automation, if you are even posting yourself, you did graduated some an industry, I mean some maybe a college, so you might have achieved a lot of things in those 3 or 4 years. So you can just focus and on LinkedIn, and you talk about what did you do and where did you get the awards and those kind of things. Along with that, you're going and reaching your clients where you wanted to be work in maybe a company. So people look at you, okay, from the beginning, and they will give you more preference than somebody is applying online. It can be just a posting, or it can be a reaching them personally and talking about in a different way too. So this can be anybody who wants to be face up business, or you know get out and get some kind of a job, or client or anything.
Sure. And a lot of the entrepreneurs that come on my podcast have actually just recently started to take personal branding seriously. So, from your point of view, Ranjit, what makes personal branding worth it for you, and why should it be worth it for other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, because of the latest AI, everything is artificial. Now they don't know even you are a real person also. So it's very hard to do the business with those kind of things. So you have to tell them out, your clients and candidates, you are a real person, you are real humans, you have that personal touch. That human touch is very important to do survive in this world, especially. So to get, I mean, make something unique than the other people are doing, and doing all the tools and everything. And that's what the human relationships are important. And the other one, when client wants to talk to you or something, or maybe reach you, and if you are using all the AIs and everything, people, I mean, example, I will give you one example. So Now we are reaching candidates with AI interviews, right? So yes, if I'm starting my career, if I'm 1, 2, 3 years experience, I won't mind taking AI test and something. But if you are already a 20 years of experience candidate, if I sent you to write an AI test, they would definitely not going to touch it, because they have already 20 years of experience. You need that human touch, you need some respect of their work. So that's why you have to connect and do it. So I'm talking about this, in personal, the same way branding is also important. Because example, if you take me, for the last 3 years I'm doing it every day, a post about how I did build with this business, what kind of struggles I had it, and I know what I am doing right now. So it's about me. It's not about my company Raks or Socia, everything. This is my personal. So even though I build some new product later, then people going to come and work with me because they already seeing me for the last 3 years, what I do, and how I talk and the build. I already built the trust. So it's never, I mean, it's never in industry or any industry you have it now. Personal branding is very important. Either it could be a partnerships, like you're talking about partnerships, right? So if you're not face of your business, if you're not out and you present yourself, nobody is going to work with you.
Absolutely. And I can attest to this. A lot of the entrepreneurs that I personally invited on the podcast, much of whom have had great track records in business, what they do is they typically watch my previous podcasts or they look at my LinkedIn profile and they see who else has been on the podcast. So it's incredibly important that you build some kind of personal branding where someone can learn more about you, the way that you operate, and the likelihood that they'll go forward with you is a lot higher. In fact, it is, for this example of the partnership that you mentioned, one of the great aspects of the Apex perspective is I'm currently in the works of connecting two co-founders together, and those two have two previous successful exits. And what they've done, they watched the podcast on the Apex perspective, and they're going to go ahead and do so to learn more about each other. So what I'll say is, if you get started with personal branding, it can actually put your foot in the door in more situations than you think not. So I think it's going to be a great perspective to share to many founders, and it'd be great to get started with it. And I wanted to conclude this part of the conversation by asking you, what steps do you think founders can take, their first couple steps to get into personal branding? What are the first steps for them?
Yeah, so this is what happens is, like, when somebody is never done or never did personal branding or anything, first thing, of course, I only focus on LinkedIn because that's where the professional people hang out. So first, you have to know who are your ICPs, okay? And if who you are trying to reach it, then as per that, you create your proper LinkedIn optimization. It can be a tagline or a banner or your about us, about you, right? This is the basic thing you have to start it. How you start is just think about your ICP, and write it your own, how you going to solve their problems, who you are, what you do, and how you going to solve your ICP. And also in the tagline also is the same thing directly, who you are going to help, and the banner with the professional image. That's what first thing. And again, now the real challenges everybody will usually ask me, how can I keep up my content consistently, right? That's where the real challenge starts. So every day you don't get ideas, okay? Maybe I can talk about 5-10 posts about my complete story, but what next? What I should have talked, okay? So you don't need to post every day. Maybe in the starting, start with the weekly once, and go after a couple of weeks, go again 2 weekly, like that. After 1 month, maybe you can post at least 3 posts every week is best. But if you can go 5, that would be awesome, right? And sharing your personal is also matters, because that's where you connect with other people. You don't always talk about the business. Talk about one day, keep it one day for your personal. It can be your health related, or you are like this, and you are right now here, and what did you do, those kind of things. And the main I wanted to say about those consistency is how you want to talk it. If you are already starting it, talk about your early challenges, and how you are trying to do, help your clients. But if you already build it, 10 years of business, you have plenty of things to talk about. Every client, every is a case study. How did you help them, like, how did they grow with you, how long you've been working with them, how much they believe on you, right? So what I do is, usually I have a voice note app. Okay. So wherever, because I don't remember, like if I get some idea or thought, I wanted to capture it immediately so that I don't miss it tomorrow. So what I do, I record what I have in my mind, and I'll clean it up, because all the grammar mistakes and everything. Then I'll rewrite it with my own language, and I'll go and tweak it with the easy readable. And you just do as like a conversation type, not like, don't sound like a AI something, just conversation type. It tell the story type. Then you record as many as like this, then you will not have, you don't need to worry about what you are missing out. So the thoughts are important. Either you're driving or you are working. So you record those and start doing it. If you start that way, the more you start doing it, the more ideas you get it, you can continue doing years in this way.
And speaking from an individual that does about 10, 12 hours a day of work, as I'm in school, a lot of my viewers know I'm in school, and I'm also running the podcast. Understand that if you record a long form video just like we're doing today, and you put into an opus clip, which essentially puts into different clips, you already have your content out there. So
Yep.
what you can do is you can be extremely efficient with what you want to do. I understand it's very difficult to start, but if you approach it very efficiently like this, recording a long video, then cutting up into clips that are relevant to the audience, I'm going to be very honest, it makes things much more efficient, especially for someone who's doing 12-hour days. So I want to put that right out there, and that was a great point that you made.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, not everybody has 30 minutes, unless if they are really interested in that subject. So the 30 seconds clip can lead them to go into a 30 minutes video also. So that's very important. And now we spoke like maybe 5, 6, or 10 topics. Each topic can be a 30 seconds of video, and people can really get into it and get to next level.
Absolutely. And now I want to shift the conversation to learn more about you, Ranjit. And the first question I had for you is, how was transitioning to the US? Because I absolutely understand that before you primarily spoke a different language. Coming to the US, knowing not a word of English or not knowing too much English and trying to enter in the professional world, that is a challenge in itself. So, how was that experience and how did you overcome the difficulties within that experience?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I studied in the non-English medium schools, and our parents or nobody was speaking in English. So as you know, India is English is a third language. So it was tough for me. Even all my friends were in different countries; they were doing well. For me, it was difficult. So when I was, when I moved into US in 2007, I know little words, like I can just understand little and maybe answer a little bit, but I'm very hard to remember those all the verbs and everything. Try to frame it. So then after that, because I was independent, I was not working, so I didn't bother much. But while staying there, even when you go out, you have to communicate. But the greatest thing I see here is nobody was pointing at me and what I was doing wrong. They were always trying to understand what I'm trying to express it. That made me to talk more. And I watched the TV, the Friends, those episodes, and also the radio. And along with that, I was watching people, like going when you go a walk, right? People talking, and how they are wishing, and those kind of things. I learned everything that way. Then even when I started limo, right? So usually when you are driving with somebody, there's always a communication. So that way I tried I went into more deep. even though, see, studying is not really helping, so you have to go out and practice and talk. So that's how I build my skills. And now I was able to worked I was able to work in accounting and in limo. Now I'm managing like almost 20, not even 20 plus, more than people managing it with just my communication skills. But recently also I bought an application. I'm trying to learn American accent. So so I'm trying to, I always try to develop my skills. I wanted to improve something.
And what's something about your life or about you, Ranjit, that you wish more individuals knew about?
My life, yeah, see, if somebody wants to take an inspiration from me, I would say that when we had a problem, or when we were really having a difficult time growing this company, I don't have anywhere to go and talk. Okay, now in the real world it's very hard to get somebody time to talk about your problem, right? It's a very hard in entrepreneur, in life, especially you are working alone. So in my life, if I was just keeping learning, all those things from, like, you're doing a podcast. So I learned somebody talking about 5 a.m. club. I talk about Robin Sharma, and these mindsets, that was keeping me on track. And every day the mind, I have to keep my mind, the stress, less stress, right? You have to be back on track if you cannot think about what happened to yesterday. So whatever you are doing it, and even if I compare myself to somebody else, there are so many people, talented people than me, but they are just doing way less than what I'm doing right now. So I feel sometimes, if I cannot speak well English, if I can remember the names, and I started from scratch alone with just a mindset, without a talent, if I can do it, I don't think it's like, I don't see anybody less than me in outside. There are so much talent out there. All they need to just work on it and start it. So what I would say is, from my side, if somebody needs to learn it, they have to start and do it consistently and never giving up. Yeah.
Agreed. And one of the things I'll say regarding mindset, and I actually don't talk about mindset very much on my show, but one thing I will say is this, and this is, in fact, something I talked about in my TED Talk speech. It's, if you have a reason worth fighting for, you will do anything to make it happen. It does not matter what's in the way. If you have a reason worth fighting for, it will happen. Now, one of the harder things is to convince yourself of the reason worth fighting for, because if you look back into history, there are people who go into war knowing they're going to die, but they are going to die for a cause.
Yeah.
If you can have a cause worth fighting for, and you translate it to today, and you have a cause that's somewhat equivalent to the past causes worth fighting for, there's nothing in the way stopping you from getting to where you want to get to, because you'll do
Absolutely.
whatever it is that is required to get to what you want. So that is the premise of what I talked about in
Agree.
my speech.
I
But
saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
So the
yeah,
why, that's why we call it right. You need to
yeah.
know your why. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to offer a quick perspective about fitness and health, and then we'll conclude the podcast with your next year plans with regard to Socia 8 or Raks Group. So the main perspective I want to provide is this. A lot of individuals, when it comes to fitness and health, they like to chase after tips and tricks to solve the problem. The issue with tips and tricks is they never solve the root problem. I believe in following the principle. The principle is what actually solves the problem. Now, if you look at the actual requirements of a successful weight loss or fitness transformation, it has nothing to do with tips and tricks, doing running or doing certain diets. What it has to come down to is a negative energy balance. What is a negative energy balance? A negative energy balance, it simply comes down to doing enough movement and burning enough energy to the point where you're burning more calories than you're consuming on a daily basis. A lot of individuals will not understand what this means. What the point is, because this is the main principle you need to leverage to make a successful transformation. You can do it any way you like. Now, with a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have time to go to the gym. They don't even
Right.
have time to commute to the gym. So
Yeah.
the main clarity point I want to provide here is that because there's only one principle required, you can actually make this transformation any way you desire. You can use the gym, but that's very much inefficient. What I would recommend is leveraging a location independent approach. For example, step count is one of the most successful approaches that I personally used, as I lost over 70 pounds myself by leveraging
Mm.
that. Now, something incredibly important is the reason it worked is because I was not chasing after tricks. I was going to the root, which is the principle, which is the negative energy balance. And the way I achieved it is by leveraging step count. So the point is, if you're getting enough movement and you're eating the right amount of food, you're going to make a successful transformation.
Yeah.
But the way you do it, the way you do the movement, it can be any way you desire. It can be the gym, it can be whatever you want. But my biggest piece of advice for entrepreneurs specifically is to leverage a location independent approach. And the reason why is because you can do it anytime, anywhere. Even if you're in an airport, wherever you are in the world, you can do it. And that is why I believe a location independent approach paired with the right principle is what will be the most successful approach for any entrepreneur. So with that, we'll conclude the fitness conversation, and then we'll move on to your next year plans with regard to Socia 8, Raks Group, or whatever it is you want to plug in.
Yeah, I discussed about the Socia MA. We covered it. So, um, Raks Group is a staffing and recruiting company. So we started back in 2016. Um, so the main goal why I started was like to help somebody like me who had a gap and who needs a guidance or something. But eventually we went into different categories too. So we are trying to help the students. We are trying to help experiences people who cannot able to find their job their own. So we help them to optimize their resume and their LinkedIn's, and we'll help them to get the interviews too. And some of them work with through us for our clients. So we have all over in US. People are consultants are working for us with our clients. And recruiting is that's what we started last year. So we are trying to help in a full-time jobs too, all the clients. They will be on the client payrolls. So this is about the Raks group. Now, of course, with the last 2 to 3 years, we've been in Inc. 5000. We got awards in IT Surveillance Alliance. So we made really good progress in last thing. You can see that behind me there are many Inc. Awards. So our goal is to help our candidates and clients and to go to the next level. But the real challenge in this world is finding the right partner is difficult to understand your real problems. It's not like sourcing a resume or giving you a job. So it's about understanding your requirements and your capabilities, and how can we guide you to get a job, and how can we solve with talent with your client, the company's problems, and how can we make the company to grow to next level. So this is what primarily we are doing with the Raks.
And where can people learn more about you, Ranjit, and more regarding Socia 8 and Raks Group?
I'm all about personal branding, so you can find me anywhere if you Google my name. But I am in always active in LinkedIn. I post every day, 5 days without a miss. So I always talk about my story, all my motivational, how I build my company and what kind of challenges I faced it. So this would help you with somebody who's really wants to need some kind of a story where they can motivate them to go to next level and keep on the track. So that's me. And LinkedIn, just reach me if you have any anything you need me. I have a recruiter light. I'm helping a free community to help to grow the staffing companies. The staff social media is for branding. Raks group is finding a talent. So here I am. Yeah.
Ranjit, your story is one of inspiration and perseverance. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Aryan. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. This was Aryan Mohindra and Ranjit Ravula. Thank you for listening.